Okay, last video we saw how we could resize some of our images in this video group. We saw we could add some simple animation to them. We saw how we could add our own animation here. We did the position. You can also do opacity and style. We also saw how we could add some transitions to our between our different sections of this video group. Now I'm going to see how we can add some layer styles and then add some text. So here's my first video. I can click on that section. And over here in my timeline, this is just like a traditional Photoshop timeline. I can double click and add some of these layer effects. I can do bevel and emboss, change the depth, size of those if I want. I can do drop shadow just like any other Photoshop file. I can do a stroke. Outside, I can do an inside stroke. So I can make it feel almost like a TV player. Okay, I could do an inner shadow. All kinds of effects. Right, and that will still be a video, and I have that interesting effect. And I could do that on any of my images and any of my videos. So I encourage you to experiment with some of those. I could also take an image and add an adjustment layer. I could add a photo filter. Well, maybe I want to change this guy to a sepia tone style, make it like an old vintage image. There you go. Pretty cool. And so it doesn't affect my whole image, all my layers. I could clip it by holding the Option key and clicking on this dividing line here, so it's clipped just to this image. There you go. It just affects that one layer, that one section. There we go. Click on these other areas here. These other layers. So I could do layer effects if I want to. I should also be able to do some galleries, some of these blurs, some of these artistic galleries if I was interested in doing any of those. I like the way it is. I don't really want to mess with those, but just so you know, you can add filters, blending modes, layer effects, almost anything you can do on regular Photoshop image, still image you can do on this video. Okay, now see how I can add text. I'm going to click on this existing video group I'm going to add a new video group. I can go to my type tool in my tool panel, click out here, change the size if I want to, change the color ahead of time or afterwards. And put a title in here. I'm going to call this a tattoo shop. Okay, so I can reposition that. And you see down here it's on its own layer, its own video track. Well, I can go back to my type tool if I want to edit this. I can highlight that, change the font. Hopefully there's something besides Comic Sans. Have a fun Batman Forever. So you can download some fonts from online or find an existing font here. Whatever you want to do, just have some fun with it. There you go, and I can put layer effects on that one. I can double click, do a drop shadow, whatever I want to do. Okay, now that looks like it puts on there for 5 seconds. I can make it out there longer if I want. I see how it shows up on top of the videos and images. I can make this go all the way across the whole video, or just for a few seconds. There you go. Now it's there for the whole time, right on top of there. Well, I could also add animation to this text. I could click on here and add some of these preset animations. Or I could open up that drop down for that video track and do some of these more careful animations. More custom style animations. Okay, I'm going to have my video or my text fade in. So right here underneath the video group 3, which is the text, I'm going to, on this first frame, I'm going to click on the opacity animation, so which adds a keyframe. I'm going to go in just a few seconds here, or like 1 second, and change the opacity. For that, I would do it in this layer over here. So 100, good. Let me go back to that first frame, click on that opacity, and change that to 0. So now it should change from 0 to 100%. So I got 2 keyframes, and I kept the first one at 100, and I changed the other one to 0. So now that fades in. Now I can also do a motion. As a opacity, I can also do transform of motion. So I can activate that on frame 1. I can go anywhere. I'm going to take it all the way almost to the end here. Activate or add another keyframe. I'm on my move tool up here, and now I can click on that text and bring it down here. So what should happen is a slow animation. It fades in, and it slowly animates down throughout the whole video. Good. Now at the end, it's going to stay there. Until it gets to the very end. Well, what I could also do is animate some more of that opacity. So I'm back to this opacity layer. In that last frame of my motion, I can click here, activate that, and I can see that it's at 100%. Good. Now I can go to the end of my frame, or shortly before that, activate it again, and lower the opacity to 0 or some other setting. So now that text fades in, moves down the screen slowly throughout the video, and then fades out at the end. You can do that with text. You can do that with any images also. Obviously, you could add more layers of text. You know, slogan, services, call to actions, phone numbers, emails, prices, whatever you'd want to do on your animation or on your commercial. Good. Well, that's all your video stuff. And our next, all your video edits and things we could do, animations. Next video, we're going to add an audio track and then export this.